My name is Lisa McDonald. We are sitting here at Sweet Bear Rescue Farm, which is a nonprofit animal sanctuary in Hendersonville, North Carolina. We established in 2017. Previous to that, I had been a consultant for most of my career, and then I dabbled in owning a brewery for a few years and launched that into an animal sanctuary, which sounds kind of strange, but the brewery was dedicated to animal advocacy, so it was actually a really good fit. So I think I realized how much I cared about animals when I was a kid. I was constantly bringing home strays. I was hiding animals in the garage and not telling my parents. I brought a snake home one time. It just wasn't until I was an adult that I made the connection with what was on my plate and my love of animals. And after that, it was pretty easy to just walk away from consuming animal products. And as a result, I've been vegan for 9 years. I was a vegetarian for 8 before that, so I'm on 17 years meat-free. Here at Sweet Bear, we primarily rescue chickens. Didn't set out to be a chicken rescue, but after I had adopted a few, I fell completely in love with them. Chickens, I think, are completely misunderstood. They are probably the most consumed animal on the planet. As a result, they are probably the most tortured animal on the planet. They're used not only for their own body, but for their reproductive cycle as well. And it's really hard to place them. So I've been rescuing chickens for 7 years now. We've got some Cornish crosses here. So these are what considered industry birds, like meat industry birds. They're bred to live 6 weeks, and mine are going on 7 years. So with the proper love and care, they can lead very long, happy, normal lives. I think that people think chickens they're referred to as dinosaurs all the time, or stupid. They're none of those things. A chicken can recognize about 100 different faces. They have very distinct personalities. Some are going to be more shy than others, just like us. I think that when you look into the eyes of a living being, you can see what's behind there. You can see a living, breathing individual that just wants to be happy and surrounded by safety and their friends. Another thing is, I think that people believe that eggs are a victimless crime, and that could not be farther from the truth. What humans have done to the reproductive system of these animals is absolutely insane. They will lay about 300 eggs a year. A chicken derived from an animal called a jungle fowl would lay 12 to 15 eggs a year. So these guys right here, thank you for coming on set. Good job. These Cornish crosses came from the Kaporos, which is a religious ritual that happens in Brooklyn and LA every year. It happens all over the world, but these animals came out of a ritualistic torture, and that was 7 years ago. So from 6 weeks by design to 7 years with a little bit of love. The chickens definitely have friends and definitely care about each other and travel in their own kind of little packs, which I think is very, very cute. Most of the Cornishes, there are 6 Cornishes, and they all get along really well. But some of the other ones, it's funny with chickens, sometimes they align with chickens that look like them. So 2 speckled hens will go off and become friends, or 2 black chickens will go off and become friends, which is really cute. But I also recently just lived with 2 turkeys, and they just could not be more different, but super, super bonded. They absolutely loved each other. And one of those turkeys had a best friend who was a chicken. So sometimes you'll see these really sweet bonds that are interspecies as well. I think for people who say things like, I care about animals, there's a pretty big distinction in between what we have normalized as caring for animals, which is dogs and cats and, the occasional guinea pig or hamster, versus a chicken. And we've done a really good job as a species of just othering certain animals to assuage our own guilt. And I think if you want to call yourself an animal lover, you really need to ask yourself some difficult questions about personhood and individualism. If there are 3 chickens that live here and they all like different foods and they all like to lay eggs in a different place, and maybe some like a color more than another color. These things happen. They have very distinct personalities, and if you see chickens as just something that is a dinosaur that doesn't have its own individual rights, likes and dislikes, autonomy, then maybe you should ask yourself what kind of animal lover you really are. So this guy right here, this is Benjamin. He's been here for about 4 years. First I think he just wanted to be on camera, but secondly, he just kind of missed me because I haven't been hanging out in the yard for a while. So yeah, he's an individual guy who loves me. We have a pretty special relationship. And he's proof that animals have different personalities. There's another guy, very different pig. This is Leon, who's a little bit more skittish than Benny. So you can see this guy like scratches, and this guy's a little bit more standoffish. So running a sanctuary is an incredible way to live. It's a strange way to live. I mean, for a while I was one woman with close to 50 animals doing this by myself. So on occasion, you wake up, everyone is happy, the sun is shining, the birds are chirping like today, and it feels like something out of a Disney movie. It's just so beautiful and peaceful and so filled with love and bravery and resilience in the eyes of all these animals here who have been through some really unspeakable atrocities. And the flip side of that is, as a sanctuary director, you see the worst of humanity every single day of your lives. If we told all of these stories, I would just absolutely break your heart. So it takes a big emotional toll. And the other thing is, the longer you do it, the more people you lose. I'm 7 years into my sanctuary, and within the last 6 months, I've lost almost my entire original crew, which has been extremely difficult. They all lived past their life expectancy, but it's PTSD. It's very traumatic to lose, members of your family. I spent my life with a goat her entire life. I met her when she was 10 days old, and she passed in December. I don't know how much longer I plan on doing this. I'm currently 55, and I would hopefully not be doing this when I'm 65 because it really is an emotional toll. I don't think it's something, at least for me, that I'll be able to do for the rest of my life. I also want to continue work I've done in the past in Africa, supporting humans and animals there in countries like Rwanda and Uganda. So I think I'm going to keep rescuing, but I'm rescuing seniors these days just because, again, if I bring a baby in and they're going to live 14 years, the next thing you know, I'm 69 years old and I've still got animals. So I'm working my way into transitioning, which is honestly the only silver lining to so much loss in such a short amount of time, is that I feel like there is going to be another phase of my life in the future. I think if you want to be a solid ally for animals without going to the extremes of buying 4 acres and starting a rescue, there are so many ways you can help. First and foremost, just educate yourself. So There are so many reasons to promote veganism as a form of animal activism. It is the best thing you can do for the planet. It is the best thing you can do for your own body. It is the best way you can show love in the world. It is the best way to create the least amount of harm in your life. So veganism would be my number one, but go out and support sanctuaries doing interesting things. Find organizations that are doing cool things towards fighting climate change. Research animal agriculture and what it's doing to the planet, and then live your life accordingly. And then for me, the way I look at it is it's just leading the most honest life I can. Anything short of what I'm doing would be a lie. So I am child-free. That is probably the greatest decision I have ever made in my life. There are a number of reasons. One, I just never wanted to have a biological child. And I think I'm from an era where that is more common than people realize. We were just conditioned to not talk about that, like we were dysfunctional or something was wrong with women from a certain era if they chose not to have kids. But I stuck with my guns. I do not have human children. I have decided to surround myself with rescued animals, and I have never regretted it. I have a lot of mental illness in my family, so there's one reason I didn't think I would be a person that would be contributing to this planet by adding another life to it that was clearly going to be a person that struggled because of the inherited trauma in my life. The environmental impact of human life is absolutely insane. Ideally, this planet would operate being able to feed and shelter every human with about 3 billion people, and we're pushing 8 billion people. I just don't think normalizing something that doesn't give the end result human a choice in the matter might not be good for me, is definitely not good for the planet. Let's keep talking about that.